But I thank you all for coming today, and I'm so happy to be able to see you, and you can see me. Because when I went I realized that something was really wrong with the computer on Monday night when I had a Zoom meeting, and I couldn't get my camera to work at all, and my mic and sound wasn't working. Realized there was something wrong with this laptop, but it seems to be working very well now. And so let's get started. I hope you all had a good week and a nice Shabbat. And we are going to start today. Move this out of the way. And we're going to start today reading the prayer for the state of Israel. I will go as slowly as I can. Yesterday in my congregation, we didn't sing it, we read it, and the rabbi was reading a little bit too fast, even for me. I couldn't quite, I could keep up with him, but I was kind of slurring some words. So I'm going to go as slowly as I can. I'm going to share the screen. And uh-oh, let's see. Oh, I hope it's working. Otherwise, we're going to use our Sidurim. Does everybody have a Sidur?
Yes.
All right, let's see if I can do this. It's not, this is not going to work. I'm going to have to play with it. So, okay. I'm going to have to play with it. So grab a Sidur, find the prayer for the state of Israel. It's in the Torah service.
178 in the Lev Shalem.
178 in which Sidurim are you using?
The Lev Shalem.
Right, I know, Deborah, you have Lev Shalem. Anybody, is everybody using this one, or do you have a different Sidur?
I have Sim Shalom, but I can find it. I know where it is.
Well,
Page 416.
Yeah.
Siddur Sim Shalom.
Okay. And any other Sidur besides Sim Shalom and Lev Shalom? That's it? Okay.
I have an older one, but I was able to find it and print it out. So
This one?
no, this is from my daughter's way back in Hebrew school.
Oh, right.
From Bethel in Cherry Hill.
Oh, okay. 'Cause
But it has everything else in it.
I have 3 different Sidurim here. So here we go. We will read together. Uh-oh, I think we just lost Elizabeth. All right, hopefully she will come back. Wait, hold on a minute. I'm watching for messages in case it's from her. But that's not from her. Okay. All right. Here we go. Avinu Sheba Shamayim. Okay.
Will we be repeating this with you?
Everybody mute, please. Okay. There. Excellent. Thank you. We'll start again. Okay. Avinu Sheba Shamayim Tzur Yisrael Vegoalo Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit, Simichat, Geulatenu, Hagen, Aleha, Be'evrat, Chasdecha, Ufros, Aleha, Sukat, Shalomecha, Ushalach, Orecha, Va'amitecha, Lerasheha, Sareha, Veyoatseha, Vitakanem, Be'etza, Tova, Milfanecha, Chazek, Et, Yedei, Megine, Eretz, Kod Shenu. Vahanchilem, Eloheinu, Yeshua. Va'ateret, Nitzachon, Te'atrem. Venatata, Shalom, Ba'aretz, Vesimchat, Olam, Leyosheveha, Venomar, Amen. Okay, how was that? Good, good speed for Deborah. Denise, okay? Harriet? Good. Edith? Yes. And Terry? Good. Okay. Elizabeth, I think you're having trouble with your camera today. So just unmute if you have a question or something, just unmute and say it. Okay. We're going to do a review of Aleinu. That was the last prayer from the Siddur that we used. So find Aleinu in your Siddur. It'll be at the end of the service, any service. You can pick any Aleinu in your book, find Aleinu.
Barbara, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
When I watched the video of the October 31st class, when you did Aleinu, you went to the last line of the first paragraph. My Siddur doesn't have it in paragraphs. Do you have the number of that line? Because I was trying to make sure that I knew that, that I could practice that along with what we did in Aleinu in our workbook.
Okay, so I'm only using the lines in the text.
Ah, okay, thank you very much.
So you can go ahead and you can either use a Siddur or you can just go ahead and use,
Ah, fantastic. Thank you so much.
it's pages 18 and 19.
Yep. Got them.
Okay, I'm just using what's in the textbook. We're not doing the entire thing. All right, so we're gonna start. And this is for study purposes. This isn't for prayer purposes. So go ahead and stay seated. It's okay. And we're going to chant at least the very beginning of it. And then we'll read the rest. Okay. So here we go. I will go slowly again and we'll sing it together. The first part, you're all going to be able to keep up with me when I sing. I know because you're all used to singing Aleinu. Okay, here we go. Aleinu lishabeach la'adon hakol לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Now we're going to go to the last sentence in the first paragraph, which is line 10 in your textbook. Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim Bashamayim Mima'al Be'al Haaretz Mitachat Ein Od. And now we're going to go to the last line of the last part of the prayer. If you're in Lev Shalom, turn the page, and I don't remember what it's like in this in Shalom, but find the very last, we're going to do the very last sentence, and we can sing this one. Ve'ne'emar ve'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu, and we repeat it. Bayom hahu, Yihye Adonai echad, Ushemo. Repeat it. Ushemo. Repeat one more time. Ushemo echad. When our Jewish musicians and composers wrote some of the melodies for our prayers, and they put in lots of different repetitions that made it confusing for many people. So this one's not so confusing. How is that? Everybody okay with Aleinu? Wonderful. We're going to go to a new topic now. So if you have a Siddur, keep it available. And since I can't share the page, we're going to be working from page, hold on, I got to find it in my book. We're going to be working from page 23 in the textbook. In order to appreciate all the procedures of a synagogue, it is really essential for us to be oriented into the geography of the prayer book. The textbook will cover some, but not all of the prayers in the Siddur. And the textbook doesn't necessarily teach them the prayers in the same sequence as the service, as we've learned, because we started with Ein Keloheinu, went to Aleinu, and the next prayer we're going to do is Adon Olam. So Rabbi Galinkin started at the end of the service, and then we're going to take a look at other prayers at the beginning and middle of the service. Okay, so if you have this page, if you happen to have it, I'm sorry I can't share, but by Thursday I will be able to share. Okay, so if you have that page out, you'll see that there are three major sections of the Shabbat morning service. So this year we're looking at the Shabbat morning service. There are three major sections. We have Shacharit, the Torah service, we have Musaf. When we're doing Shacharit and Musaf, we're talking to God, we're praying. But when we get to the Torah service and we're in the Torah reading or the Haftarah reading, we listen to God. So it kind of makes our morning a two-way conversation. We talk and we listen. God listens to us and God talks to us through the Torah. Okay, so let's start with the first morning prayers. Shacharit. There are two parts of the service that are introductory prayers. The first part is called Birchot HaShachar. So, open up a Siddur, and you're going to go to the beginning, and every Siddur is laid out differently. So some of the Siddurim start with Kabbalat Shabbat. They start with the Friday evening service, and we're going to skip the Friday evening service. And we're going to go to the very first part of the Shabbat morning service. So in whichever book you've got, in Lev Shalem, they start with prayers that you do at home and festival prayers that you do at home. So you have to kind of skip through and see if you can find the very first prayers that are for the morning. The first part are called morning blessings, Birchot HaShachar, the morning blessings. Can you find that in your Siddur? Yeah? If you're using Lev Shalem, the very beginning of it is on page 99. If you're using Sim Shalom, let me find it.
Would it be page 340?
Hold on, I'm looking for Birchot HaShachar, so just give me a moment to find it. And oh my goodness. Okay, so if you are using Sim Shalom, you're going to want to go to page 2. That's the very beginning of Birchot HaShachar. It's the same as the weekday.
Yep.
Okay. In both Lev Shalem and in Sim Shalom, the very, very first prayer in the book, or for the morning, is Modeh or Moda Ani. Do you see that? Okay. I know, Harriet, you've got a different book. So, okay. And Modeh Ani or Moda Ani for us, because we're all women, that's the prayer that we say when we wake up in the morning. So you get up and that's when you would say Modeh or Moda Ani. We're going to turn some pages. And you'll see as you turn pages that you will find, and the books are all different. So I'm turning pages in both books. You will see that the next prayer that you'll see the prayer for putting on the talit. In Sim Shalom, because this is a weekday service, you're also going to see the prayers for putting on the tefillin. But if you're in Lev Shalem, this book is only for Shabbat, so you'll see the prayer for putting on your talit, which is Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef batzitzit. Tzitzit are the fringes. Okay, who's instructed us to wrap ourselves with tzitzit. Okay, we're going to keep turning some pages. And if you turn in Lev Shalem, if you're on 103, you will see the Birchot HaShachar, it says at the top of the page. And this is a list of blessings. And in Sim Shalom, you will find the blessings on page 10. It's a whole list of blessings, one after another after another. The first one reads, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan laschvi vina lehavin bein yom uvein laila. Thank you for letting us distinguish between night and day. That's the first bracha. And there's a whole list of them. And that's usually where the prayers, if your synagogue does Birchot HaShachar in the building, then that's probably where you start with that list of brachot. Okay, these prayers are preparatory. They are getting us ready for praying. They're getting us ready for the service. Many rabbis, especially during COVID, when people were on Zoom, online praying, many rabbis shortened what they were going to do. They picked the prayers that they felt were most important, needed to be said, and they kind of eliminated others. Some of the synagogues went back to doing all the prayers in Birchot HaShachar and Pesukei Zimra. Some didn't. Some kept their abbreviated portion of these prayers. Some had always been using an abbreviated part of Birchot HaShachar and Pesukei Zimra, these two introductory portions of the service. I learned that at one time in our history, these blessings were blessings that people said as they walked to shul in the morning to get themselves ready. Okay, so the first part of this service are all these different kinds of blessings. We're going to just keep turning some pages. There's a place for study in this section, and that place for study ends with a special Kaddish called Kaddish de Rabbanan, which has an extra paragraph added to it. In Sim Shalom, in Lev Shalem, it's on page 111. And in Sim Shalom, you'll see the Kaddish de Rabbanan on page 20. It follows some paragraphs of study. In many synagogues, mourners are asked to stand for the Kaddish Kaddish de Rabbanan. But actually, anybody who it doesn't have to be limited to mourners. Anyone who has read or has heard a teaching of text can say this prayer. And its middle paragraph that begins with the words Al Yisrael, that's got some tricky words in it. So if you want to take a look at it one day and practice it, you can. Okay, we're going to keep turning pages. Yes.
We said the Kaddish de Rabbanan in our I'm losing it. Bat mitzvah class. The first every month we would study, and we always said the Kaddish de Rabbanan.
Right. This is the prayer you say when you have studied. So
Right, right,
it's not just for mourners. Anyone can
Right.
say,
right.
yeah. I mean, I keep asking the question, why do they just ask mourners to stand? Anyone who's studied should say this prayer. So you know that middle paragraph then, that's a little tricky.
Yeah,
Did-
yes. Although I had it transliterated in front of me when we said it.
Oh, wait, you won't do that anymore. Now you'll do it from the Hebrew. Right? Just take your time. Just take your time. It's okay.
Yeah.
You'll know when you're doing really well if you can lead us in the prayer for the state of Israel. Okay? So
All right.
there's a goal for everybody. Can you lead
All
us
right.
in this prayer for the state of Israel? All right. I'm gonna keep turning pages. I'm turning in Lev Shalem, and I am going to go until I'm looking for the next set of prayers, which is called after the mourner's Kaddish. There is a mourner's Kaddish in the morning in Shacharit, in the Birchot HaShachar, and following the mourner's Kaddish, we begin Psuke de Zimra, which is on page 122 in Lev Shalem. And now I lost my page here. So I'm looking in Sima Shalom now. And it is on page 54 in Sim Shalom. Psuke de Zimra begins with the prayer, also using the word Baruch a lot, which is Baruch She'amar. Our prayers get their name from the first words of the prayer, just like the Torah portions are. You'll see the beginning of the Torah reading for that day will have the words for the that are the name of that parsha for the day. So this prayer is called Baruch She'amar because the first line begins with Baruch She'amar v'haya ha'olam Baruch Hu. Okay, as we're going to go through, we're going to kind of pass through this. It's full of psalms. You'll see lots of psalms, lots of things to sing in these morning introductory prayers. You will also find in Psuke de Zimra the song at the sea. So it is on page I think I passed it. Here we go. Okay, so in Lev Shalem, it's on page 143. In Sim Shalom, it is I'm getting there. It is on page 92. Oh, and Deborah found it on 320. Okay. And then this has many verses that are sung aloud. And every synagogue sings different things aloud. Okay. So in the synagogue that I attend, we do an abbreviated version of both Birchot HaShachar and Psuke de Zimra. What do they do in your synagogue?
I wish that we had a chazan that could carry a tune, because he usually ends up reading it, and it makes me sad because Pisuke de Zimra has 8 psalms in it, and they're meant to be sung. It's like all in this Lev Shalem about God loves singing, and he's just up there like praying to himself. But so he starts as Yashir Moshe. He goes at warp speed, and then he stops. He doesn't sing O Zivi Zimrat Yah, and he skips over Mi Chamocha. He just prays it to himself. I'm like, man, why can't we find a prayer leader that sings? It's so annoying. I'm like, and I need to ask you while I'm on the bandwagon here, why does he put an N on the end of a lot of his words, like hallelujah? I even asked him because it's so annoying. He puts an N. I'm like, what's up with that?
I don't know. That's him. That's him. That's not, that's just him.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize it was wrong until I started taking this class. I'm like, wait, and starting to read Hebrew for myself. I'm thinking, there's no N on these words.
It could have something to do with just the way his mouth is forming the letters. Now you're going to get a little bit of my speech therapist stuff in there. And it has to do get that because there's no reason to do it. That's just him.
Okay. All right.
And sometimes because I don't, he's letting air, if he's ending up with an N sound, he's letting air out of his nose instead of his mouth. That's all I can think of.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't know.
Irony is he won't let me lead Pisuke de Zimra learning it because he said I need to learn how to read Hebrew, but he's up there mispronouncing everything.
Well, I don't think he's actually mispronouncing. I think it's probably something more physiological than that. So
All right.
I
Thank
think it's okay. But there's no nun at the end of all those paragraphs. We were members, we've been members of over the last 6 years, we were members of 4 different synagogues because my husband was moving around every year. And at some of the synagogues, when they got to this song at the sea, they sang many of the lines. They always added Oziva Zimratya, and they always added Mi Chamocha. They always sang those verses, even if they stopped in the middle. But the synagogue that I'm at now, they sing just the beginning. They don't even go as far as I used to going, and then it's all silent. Yeah. So every synagogue's different. Any other customs at your synagogue, minhag or custom? Some synagogues don't do any of it.
The only time I hear the song of at the sea is in the morning minyan. They do it then, but I'm not sure I hear it in the regular service.
In Shabbat, the Shabbat.
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of rabbis are very cognizant of time constraints, and so they cut things to make.
Well,
enough.
they do Nishmat, which comes right behind that. They do the soul of all that lives. They do that. So I guess it's choices, but we've had 3, I've been under 3 rabbis in this synagogue, and they all do the same. So far, they follow the same pattern.
Probably the custom or the minhag of your synagogue,
That might be.
and they've just as they came.
Yeah,
out.
to keep the harmony, yeah.
Okay. All right, now we're going to get to the main prayers. The main prayers, they're going to start before this, but you're going to be singing depending on the synagogue, and depending on the rabbi, the cantor. You're going to start at different. You may start at different places, but most people on Shabbat morning will begin this main part of the service with Shochenad, and that prayer begins on page 147 in Lev Shalem. And now in Sim Shalom, we're gonna move. And in Sim Shalom, it's going to start on page 336. You'll find Shochenad. And you can tell it's Shochenad because the first two words in the prayer are Shochen Ad. That's where it begins. Now we're going to get to a main portion of the prayers, and it is the Shema and its blessings. So that will start in Lev Shalem on page 149 with Baruch Hu. And in Sim Shalom, it's on page 340. You'll also notice that just before you get to the Baruch Hu, if you just turn back one page, you will see there's a Chatzi Kaddish. So you will either have a full Kaddish or a half Kaddish. And these Kaddishes, not the mourner's Kaddish, not the Kaddish de Rabbanan, but these Chatzi Kaddish and Kaddish Shalem are separating sections of the service. So you know you're going into a new part of the service when you get to one of these Kaddishes. And so this next part that's a main part of the service, the Shema and its blessings, beginning with Baruch Hu. And you'll see as you just turn the pages in your Siddur, on Shabbat morning, we'll sing El Adon. We don't sing that on a weekday or holiday. This is for Shabbat. And just keep turning the pages. You'll see lots of different prayers. You may see words that you recognize. In Lev Shalem, as you're turning the pages, you might see Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot, Malach Haaretz Kavodo. It's in bold. And let me turn the pages in Sim Shalom and see if it's the same. It's not in bold in Sim Shalom. It's on page 344, but it's not bolded. Okay. And when you get to page 154 in Lev Shalem and page page 346 in Sim Shalom, you'll see the blessings that immediately precedes the Shema. There are lots of beautiful melodies that synagogues use for these prayers. The one right before the Shema in the morning begins with Ahava Rabbah. Ahava, does it sound like another word you might know?
Love.
Love. So we start with Ahava Rabbah, and it ends, the blessing just before the Shema ends with Baruch Atah Adonai Habocher Ba'amo Yisrael Be'ahava. There we have it again. Okay. When we work on the Shema, when we get to the Shema, we're going to look at these two prayers before the prayer before the Shema as well. So when you turn the page, you will be on the Shema, unless you're in Lev Shalem, and then the Shema is on the same page as the Ahava Rabbah. And keep turning pages. We have the Shema, we have the blessings following the Shema. And Michamocha, which is familiar to everybody. Michamocha will be on page 158 in Lev Shalem. And in Sim Shalom, it is on page 352. And after we say that bracha, that final bracha, Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael, we're ready to say the Amidah, the standing prayers, which is the next part of the service, the Amidah. It's also called the Shemona Esrei, which means 18, referring to the number of blessings, even though that's not the correct number of blessings. So in Lev Shalem, it's on page 159, and in Sim Shalom, it's on page 354. the beginning of the Amidah. And go ahead and flip through the Amidah. You'll see how many blessings are actually in the Amidah. So as you're flipping through, I don't know, Sim Shalom doesn't give you numbers, but Lev Shalom does. So you'll see how many brachot there really are as you flip through the pages. You'll come to a page also that has some personal prayers. When I was learning, when I was doing Daf Yomi, learning Talmud, I was so impressed that I found this first prayer that begins Elohai Natsor, my God, keep my tongue from evil, my lips from deceit. Help me ignore those who would slander me. Let me be humble before all. I found that prayer was right there in the Talmud. This was one of the rabbi's prayers. These are private prayers, so you can make your own prayer up also when you finish your Amidah, and create your own prayer. And you'll see that it's followed by a Kaddish Shalem, a full Kaddish. Okay, so that tells you that we're finished with this service. So we're now finished with this service. And we're going to go on to the next service. Now, we talked about three major services. Okay, we talked about three major services. The Torah service is next. When you turn the page after the Kaddish Shalem, you should be at the Torah service. Now, if you are, sorry, I'm going to my Sim Shalom. If you're using Sim Shalom, after the, when you turn the page, you're actually going to get to Hallel. But if you are using Lev Shalem, when you turn the page, you're going to get to the Torah service. So we're going to skip Hallel for right now. That's part of the holiday service. In Lev Shalem, it's in another part of the book. The Torah service in Sim Shalom, you'll find on 394 and 168 in Lev Shalem.
We did Hallel last week for Rosh Chodesh, right?
Right, that's right. So yes, on Rosh Chodesh you do Hallel. On all the holidays you do Hallel.
Okay, thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely on Rosh Chodesh. I know the service is a little bit longer when it's on Rosh Chodesh, but I really enjoy Hallel.
We do that on Makom B'Yachad for Rosh Chodesh, and they do. It's wonderful. We've got some beautiful voices on there.
I know. Yes,
I really enjoy it.
I love Hallel. My son is a cantor in Mount Kisco, New York, and at his synagogue, this is their minhag. He inherited it. He didn't start it, but he's keeping it going. He has a group of volunteers that are the Hallel choir, and they come up on the bima and they sing with him during Hallel. It's really very beautiful.
Wonderful,
And anyone can do it. Anyone can join his little choir
nice.
that comes up there. Yeah, and so he'll take the microphone and point it at people so they all get solos, but everybody sings together. So there are lots of different things that different congregations do, but Hallel is fun. I love Hallel. All right, so we're in the Torah service, and if you have a copy, if you are using a Lev Shalem and you look down at the bottom of the page, you will notice that it still says on the right-hand page, Shacharit l'Shabbat. And on the left-hand page, it still says Shabbat morning service. Technically, the Torah service is part of Shacharit. But we give it its a special place. So we don't, it's okay that it's part of Shacharit, but it's really a service unto itself. And you see that there was a full Kaddish separating the Amidah from the Torah service. Okay, so the Torah service is called Seder Kriyat HaTorah. Any words you recognize in that? Seder Kriyat HaTorah. There's one word you all recognize, right? Torah.
Seder.
Seder. Very good. Seder. So what does Seder mean? Because we're not going to sit down to a meal in the beginning of the Torah service. So what does Seder mean?
Order, I think,
Order.
right?
Yes.
Order of the service.
It's the order. That's what the Seder is. It has to follow a specific order. So our Torah service is also going to follow a certain order. Okay. We have 3 parts of the Torah service. The first part you can see right here. This is called Seder Hotza'ah HaTorah. This is the service for taking the Torah out of the ark. And we're going to sing all these different prayers. Ein kamocha vayehi ben soa. We have some prayers that we say in front of the ark. The rabbi might say a prayer. Maybe he makes up a prayer. Maybe he reads a prayer that's from the book. Many synagogues sing the prayer Be'ana Rachetz. There's a certain order. When the Torahs are taken out of the ark, we say the Shema, and the leader will sing the Shema, and the congregation will repeat it. The leader will sing the next line, Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo, and we will repeat it. And then everybody will face the ark. So the person who's holding the Torah will turn around from facing the congregation, will turn around and face the ark, and you bow as you say the third line. So there's an order to taking this out, and then they're going to walk around with the Torah scroll. Some congregations will walk around the whole congregation. Some will just walk around the bima. Uh-oh, let me read what this says. Host not allowing to unmute. Oh my goodness. Mine is saying ask to unmute. You can't unmute, Elizabeth? Uh-oh. Everybody else has been able to unmute, right? Try it.
Yeah, unmute.
Okay, Elizabeth, I don't know why yours is saying.
Have to check out and come back in.
I don't know.
Setting.
You know what, Elizabeth, send a message that if you want to just send a message just like you just did. I don't know why. Okay. All right. So some congregations will just take the Torah around the bima and back up. Some go all the way around. Up. It's all very. It's just whatever is done in that particular synagogue. All right. Then as we'll turn the page, and you will see after the Shema and L'cha Adonai, when the Torah is up on the bima, the leader, there are certain words the leader will say, and then they call up the first person for the Aliyah, and you can see that the blessings for the Aliyah are right there in your Siddur. Okay, so the second part of the service is called Kriyat HaTorah, the reading of the Torah. And after we've read the Torah, we've set it aside, and we've read the Haftarah. We will do the last part of the Torah service, which is called Seder Hachnasat HaTorah, which is returning the Torah to the ark. And so you'll see that we're following all the different prayers that we're going to say. If it's the week before Rosh Chodesh, before the new month, you'll have the Birkat HaChodesh, and then an Ashrei, and then the prayers returning the Torah to the ark and singing and a parade around again. And we're going to go into this in more detail later. Okay. And after the Torah has been returned to the ark, you see on page 184 in Lev Shalem and on page went too far. On page 428 in Sim Shalom, you will see that we have another Chatzi Kaddish, another half Kaddish, telling us that we have now reached the end of one portion of our service and we're moving to the next. And the third part of the Saturday morning service, the Shabbat morning service, is called Musaf. These are the additional prayers. And that begins on page 185 after the Chatzi Kaddish, 185 in Lev Shalem, and in Sim Shalom, it
428.
428 or mine says, yeah, well, I have the wrong number written here. You're right. No, 430. 430. Go to page 4.
Oh.
Because for page 428 is the Chatzi Kaddish. So the actual
Right.
prayers, the Amidah will start on 430. Okay. Now, in your textbook, if you look at page 103, you will see a vocabulary of Jewish life. Much of this vocabulary centers around the synagogue. So if you look at unit 1, the first unit we did, which was Ein Keloheinu, and remember, we found the word Amen, and Amen is an expression of consent. And for unit 2, which was Aleinu, the books, the vocabulary that he is suggesting: Sidur, prayer book; Rosh Hashanah, Shacharit, Musaf, Baracha, Psuke de Zimra, Shema, Amidah, Hotza'at HaTorah, Kriyat HaTorah, Hachnasat HaTorah. So these are all words that we were using today. Take a look at the vocabulary for unit 3: Israel, Yisrael, Shalom, Bracha, Torah, Chai, L'chaim, Tzedakah. These are words that we use all the time in a synagogue. So go ahead and take a look at these words. It continues for every unit that we are going to study. You'll see vocabulary for Jewish life. He actually has some pretty good things in this textbook. Just some extra things in addition to the text. Okay, this gets us ready for the next prayer, which will be Adon Olam. And so on Thursday, we are going to begin with Adon Olam. During the week, take a look at Adon Olam in your Sidur. You're used to singing it. If there's, I don't know whether there's transliteration or not in your Sidur, but if there's transliteration, cover it up. Don't look at it and just look at the Hebrew. Go ahead and sing it. Practice singing it. Practice singing Ein Keloheinu. Practice reading Aleinu. Use the textbook. Those are the lines that he's teaching in this book. But if you're used to reading all of Aleinu, go ahead and practice reading all of it. Okay. Any questions? Any comments?
Just thank you for having the class today.
Oh, my
Definitely.
pleasure.
I have a question.
Yes. Go ahead.
when it's our turn to present the prayer for the state of Israel, I would like to be able to sing it, and because my goal is to lead it in the synagogue. So do you have a melody preference, or can I sing the one I've learned?
Sing the one you've learned.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Sing the one you've
I
learned.
didn't know there was a melody.
Yes, there is.
There are several melodies.
I like
There-
that idea.
Yeah, there are several melodies for it. And they take you all the way through the prayer.
Mhm.
Some of them were written specifically for a cantor to kind of show off in the middle, but allow the congregation to sing at the beginning and the end. And that's okay too. And some of them, some cantors have adapted that melody so that the congregation can sing with the cantor throughout the prayer. So, you know, if you would like to sing it when you lead it, that is fine. If you would rather read it, that's fine too. It is always easier to sing. It's easier to sing it. Harriet, you wanted to say something, I think.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask, because the Siddur I have is not going to work. I'm roaming all over the place trying to find things. Do you use Sim Shalom for Shabbat and festivals, or do you use the one for weekdays?
I've got them both. I've got them both. I've got both of them.
Okay, which do you prefer that we have, as long as I'm going to find it?
No, it doesn't matter. I'll show you. I've got Sim Shalom and Lev Shalom right next to me, but on my bookshelf behind me is the Sim Shalom for Shabbat and holidays.
Okay, so if I get that one, I'll be able to find things.
I will have all the page numbers for that too. I have them. I always have the page numbers for all three of those Sidurim.
Ah, wonderful. Thank you so much. I should have it in time for, I hope, next
Thursday.
class.
Okay. Hopefully on Thursday, I'll be able to share the screen. I do not know what happened here, but I'm gonna have to go into my Zoom account and figure out what's wrong. And then I usually have the prayers so that you can see them on the screen. But I think it's easier to read it from the book than from the screen.
If you have sight issues, the book makes it easier.
Yeah. So I can't share the screen, but you can find Hatikva in your Siddur. So let's see. In Lev Shalem, it's on page 448. And in Sim Shalom, I have to hunt, sorry. My plan was to share the screen. Anybody know where it is in Sim Shalom?
They used to.
Yeah. Here. Hatikva is on page 827 in Sim Shalom. Okay, so we'll all stand up and just make sure you're muted. And we will sing together. Ready? Kol od balevav pnima, nefesh Yehudi homiya, ulafate mizrach kadima, ayin letzion Sophia. Od lo avda tikvatenu, hatikva bat shnot alpayim, lihiotam chofshi be'artzenu, eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim. Lihiotam chofshi be'artzenu, eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim. Okay.
I love that song.
Yeah.
I love that song. It's haunting, but it's just really, it's very moving for me.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. Okay, everyone. Shavua Tov. Everyone have a good week. I will see you on Thursday. And
Okay.
I'll work on my Zoom so that I can share my screen.
Thank you.
Have a good week, everybody.
Everybody have a wonderful week.
Bye.